There we go. Good morning, everybody. I don't know if hopefully you can all hear me all right. I'm just going to move these up a little bit so you can see them. We're a few minutes early, so we're just going to, we won't get started for about another 5 minutes, make sure everybody's on, but I wanted to just make sure the camera was working. If any of you know me, I am so not technology based, so I rely on Stacy and Diane to help me out with this kind of stuff. So anyways, I just wanted to make sure that we were good to go that way. Hopefully everybody can hear me okay. Stacy, how do I see like messages and stuff? Just so
if you touch that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Perfect. Good. Look, there's messages already coming through. That's just fantastic. And
sometimes you'll need to touch it
to keep refreshing it. Yeah. Okay, good. That's great. Excellent. So happy to see all of you on this morning for Crafty Hour number 21 and Crafty Hour number 2 for me. So I am very happy to be with you. I want to just take 1 second and just thank you all for your very, very kind messages after my initial one that I did a little ways back, the B one, and I really appreciated it all. It was just very heartfelt. So I really, I'm really enjoying this. Again, I have to thank Courtney and Diana for allowing me to be a part of this little community, because I really do enjoy teaching. Virtual teaching is a little bit different, but I'm getting more used to it. So we'll work on it together. That's for sure. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. I really do enjoy. And Crafty Hour is just great because, again, I think I said in my initial one that I don't consider myself an awesome teacher, but I always think that I have some pretty good ideas. So this way I can, put my ideas forward for you, and then you can take them and run with them, or you can do your own designs. And that's the nice thing about Crafty Hour. So, like I say, I really do appreciate you all, and we'll go forward. It's a lot of fun, and it's hard to believe we're looking at Christmas cards on this beautiful day. It's beautiful here in Langley, and I'm sure it is throughout, but it's something, if you can get started on them now, boy, it sure makes a big difference when you're rushing around in the fall and before Christmas. So I really do look forward to other ones as well coming up. So where are we? We're just about 10 o'clock. So I think we'll get started. The timing for me is still a thing, because of course it takes longer to design the card and put it together, but it doesn't necessarily take all that long to do it with you. So I always figure if I'm a little bit short of time, you can, I always have my dimensions and things written out for you, so you will have those. And if we're ahead of time, I do have a couple of cards that I'll just show you quickly, and I will be posting on Crafty Hour Creations. Again, please make sure you join that if you haven't joined it before, because it is a great community for you to post things that you have done with your extra pieces, and you will have lots of extras after this class. And also, if you have questions in that, I know a couple of ladies had questions on my card bases and that, and I'm always happy to answer those as well. So Crafty Hour Creations, make sure you join that group, because it really is a great group to be a part of as well. So, and I will post a couple, 2 or 3 additional cards. I won't do it probably until the weekend, but they will have dimensions and stuff with them as well. And you can use some of your other leftover pieces, because I always want to make sure that Courtney also has done hers, which she will be doing this afternoon at 5 o'clock our time. And then again, you're still going to have lots that you're going to be able to create with. So let's get started. We're going to start with this pretty pink one. I'll just hold it up a little bit so you can see it a little bit closer. I just loved this. I just thought it was really pretty. I'm not a real pink person at Christmas time, but I thought that the die cuts and that really lended itself to be able to do a really cute little card. So we're going to work on this one first. So I'm going to just stick this one here in the corner, make sure you can see it. And I do have the dimensions and everything done here that I will post up in this corner. You should be able to see it okay. And you can always take a screenshot in that as well. The other thing I just have to remind you of as well is this will be posted on our page. So if you haven't been able to do it today, maybe you're out on a beautiful summer vacation, or you want to watch it again, or you weren't sure exactly how things were done, go back. That's the joy of virtual teaching and virtual classes, because you can watch them over and over again and at your convenience. And that's the most important thing. So let's get started. So I'll just grab my trimmer here and my pieces. So the first piece that we're going to cut, if you look at my sheet here, move my card over a little bit. Let me just move this here. There we go. We're going to build our base first. So we'll build the background part of it as first. So the gray tartan, this was one of the pieces of paper that you had in your really pretty paper pad that you got. So this is the gray one that has the really soft gold trim through it. So we're going to cut it first. So we're going to cut your gray tartan paper 4 3/4 by 6. The paper is already a 6 by 6 paper pad. So really you're just going to do your 4 3/4 notch on your trimmer, whichever trimmer you are using. That one is going to be just like that. And you'll have this little piece. You can hold on to it. You may be able to use it in another project, or you can just get rid of it, either way. And then just double check. It should be 6 inches the other way because it is a 6 by 6 pad, but double check it. It's always a good idea. So now you have your gray tartan piece, and we are going to cut your white cardstock. One thing I should mention about the cardstock is the cardstock sheets that you have are for this Crafty Hour as well as Courtney's. So not, sometimes what I did was I cut all my pieces in half just to make sure I wasn't going into any pieces that Courtney had. But it's always a good idea to have some extra cardstock, especially white, because you use white, all the time. So anyways, so we're going to take a piece of white cardstock, and I'm just going to grab a sheet that I have here, and we are going to cut it to 4 7/8. So that is the really tiny notch just before 5. So it's between the 4 3/4, your 4 3/4, and your 5 is 4 7/8. And I use the 1/8 quite a bit. And I know when you get Courtney's tools that will be on their way soon, this will make it easier for quite a few of you, because it is hard sometimes to get it exact. It doesn't have to be exact, but anyways, I do use the 8ths quite a bit. I like a tiny border. Again, that's up to you. If you'd like a chunkier border, you can go ahead and do that as well. So the white cardstock piece, we're 4 7/8 by 6 1/8. So that again is just the tiny little 1/8 past the 6. So it's between 6 and 6 1/4. And if you hold up your two pieces, you will see you will have just a tiny little border of the white on the gold. And the reason I do this more than anything else is because this cardstock pattern paper is not a thick pattern paper. And so I like to make sure that I have a nice thick border when I'm working with my cards. Sometimes I will use even thick cardstock or pattern paper and put it onto a piece of white. You can always eliminate that, but I find when especially it is a thinner cardstock, it's easier for you to have a nicer base. So you can stick those together, whichever you want to use. If you want to use your glue or a tape runner, however you want to stick them together, you can just put it together here. So we have those two pieces, and we are just going to attach them together. just like that. And now you have one of your card bases anyways on the background of your card. So we've got that. All right, so there you go. That's how those two have gone together. So then the next piece, and I did say in the homework that I substituted out a light pink paper. Now you did receive a piece of cardstock, pink cardstock in your kit. You're welcome to use this. I just felt with the lighter shades in the poinsettias, as well as like the little mice and that kind of thing, I wanted to have a softer cardstock. So I use the Tutu Pink from Basil. But again, if you don't have that, you are welcome to just go ahead and use your pink that came in your kit as well. Okay, so we're going to cut whichever pink sheet that you have. So 5 1/4 by 6 1/2. So again, just 5 1/4 on one of your sides. Let's get rid of that. And by 6 1/2. Just leave that for a second. There we go. And that's that piece. So what I did on the card sample, as you can see here, this piece that we just did is going to go onto your pink. And I attached these two pieces with foam, just because I like to have a little bit of a dimension to it. Again, if you want to make it flat, if you wanted to have a card that would be a little bit easier to go in the mail, then go right ahead and use just your glue or your tape runner. But otherwise, you can just attach it with your foam tape. Again, just to give it some dimension. And I'm just going to put one in each corner. In most cases, I would put it a little bit more around, but this is a little bit easier. So there's my pieces of foam. There we go. And we're just going to attach your gold onto your pink. And you'll have a nice little border around that, a little bit more than just the 1/8. It's probably closer to about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. But it gives it a nice background. So there we go. That's that one done. So we can go ahead and attach that to our card base. Our card base I had you cut ahead of time as well. It was 5 1/2 inches scored this way, and then 6 3/4 the other way. And this piece is going to go onto here. And I just did it flat. Normally I would probably do it with some foam tape, and you can go right ahead and do that if you like. But I just felt with the dimension of the mice and that kind of thing on it, it didn't really need to be thicker. So you can just attach it flat to your card base that you had pre-cut ahead of time. And if you haven't got it pre-cut, you want to do it down the road, no problem. I did put the card base dimensions here on my sheet. So it was the 5 1/2 inches scored, and then the 6 3/4. So it was on there for you too. Okay, so that is just going to stick onto your card base. Just like that. There we go. We've got that soft kind of background that we have done here. So that's great. Okay, so then we're just going to build our next piece that again forms our background. And I had you emboss whichever type that you wanted to emboss ahead of time. I used the, it's not called Swiss dots. I think it's called tiny dots from Spellbinders. I always call it Swiss dots because that used to be the one that we used forever and ever. And that one is going to go here on the background, and we are going to mat that in our gold foil, which I seem to be missing. Hold on. Grab it here. There we go. So you've got your gold foil piece. And this is beautiful gold foil. I love it because of it being double-sided as well. It's just great. So this, you are going to, so this was already cut. We already had our embossed piece cut that I gave you in your homework. And you're gonna cut your gold foil piece to 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. So 5 3/8. Again, it's just about almost half a sheet of your gold. So 4 1/8. And then 5 3/8. 1, 2, 3. And that one again is just before the 5 1/2. There we go. Try not to get that shine in your, it is such a beautiful foil, but it really does take on the light. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you are going to attach your white tiny dots to the gold foil. And again, I just did that flat, so you don't have to worry about putting foam tape or anything behind that. Again, if you want to, more dimension, go right ahead and do that as well. I find these little tape runners work really well. It was actually one of our customers, and I'm sorry, forgive me for not remembering who it was, that said this is really quick and easy, and it really is. This one is the Scrapbook Adhesives one, the Easy Runner, and it really is a great way to be able to run it quickly. Okay, so we're just going to attach our dotted or embossed, and again, you could use any of your embossing folders that you have in your stash, or you could leave it plain. If you don't want to have it embossed, you don't need to as well. And I did give you the dimensions for that. I noticed I didn't write it here on my sheet, but the embossed piece was cut to 4 by 5 1/4. So it was just a tiny little bit bigger than that one there, than your embossed piece. Okay, so now what we're ready to do is put this onto our background. And I did use a little bit of foam tape behind that, again, just to give it a little bit of dimension. If you don't want the dimension, you're welcome to do it flat as well. I know, Joyce, I tell you that old Swiss Dots folder was the best, and I'm very happy to see that Spellbinders is not only coming out with some of their old embossing folders, but they're also coming out with their old dies, which I tell you, some of those dies, just the simple ones, I use over and over again. So I'm very thrilled to see that, so that I'll be able to use them in future classes. So just put that onto your base, and as you can see, it just forms a really nice little frame around the outside. So you've got that on there too. There is your background done. Okay, so then, and then I've got to attach attach the pieces to your base. So that's what we did. So I'm going to move that little direction card out of the way, and then we're just going to work on putting our cute little card here together. I'll do it that way, and then you should be able to see it. Okay, so what we can start with first is we're going to start with our poinsettias. So what I did for the poinsettia, here's my sheet that I had put in the homework, is you've got your 3 pink poinsettias. So if you want to pull those out first. And when I put this card together, I stuck it all together, and I thought it looked really nice having it on the side. But after I had done it, I also thought, you know, you could just center this as well. So it's entirely up to you. If you'd rather have it in the center and have your dots showing on each side, you could. Or I thought this was cute, and you could even add a larger sentiment or that to it as well. But it's entirely up to you how you want to do it. So what I did first is I did flat my biggest poinsettia. So there's the 3 different ones, and I used the biggest one first. And what I did was I kind of just put it sort of midway up, just like that kind of idea. And you can use your glue, or you can use your tape runner, or whatever you want to do, but just sort of formulate where you would like to have it, where you'd like to start your, because you kind of do this corner idea just around here. So if you just kind of estimate exactly where you want to have it, then you can just put some glue in behind it and just stick it right on. And you're really not going to see a lot, especially the big one. So kind of try and keep one of the leaves sort of coming out like that, just so you can kind of see it coming off. It didn't go right off the card, but it goes right off of the dotted base. So just like that. Okay. And then I took the second biggest one, so the mid-size one, and I added one piece, just a small piece of foam tape. So I kind of did that idea, so overlapped it and put a small piece of foam tape behind it, just in the center. Again, you're kind of building it, so it's up to you. If you wanted to have more, you could, but you're really not going to see a lot of it. So just sort of off like this, and you can go further too, because you do have all this extra space. So exactly where you want to place it, totally up to you. So just like that with some foam. And then there is the third, the little guy, the little pink one. I love these poinsettias. I just thought they were so pretty. And I noticed Courtney, I think, used a couple of them in hers. That was the also beauty of the packs, is that you received in this kit, you received 2 of everything. So it made it great for being able to teach, but also great that you're able to do different things with them. So the third one, this little one down here, I added double foam tape. I sound like Diana. So I just used a little piece, folded it over, and just so it gave it a little bit more dimension, and just like that. They're never going to look the same. So yeah, just like that. So there you go. So there's your 3 you've got there. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, just because I want to have it kind of set for just a minute, is this really cute little bow. If you looked in your kit, which was just an incredible kit as far as I'm concerned, because you were given so many things in it. This package of die cuts to me was just absolutely fantastic, because not only did you get the cute little sprigs, you got the poinsettia, which we're going to use in our next card, and this amazing kind of curly die cut. And I know they showed you have a card inside your box. They showed it as a frame, and I thought, you know what else could we do with this? Well, I decided we were going to use it to make a bow. So that's why I asked you to cut 3 of these curly cues right here. So there's 1, 2, and 3. And I tried to just use 1 to make the bow, and I found it was quite tiny. It was just too hard to kind of work with. So that's why what I suggested is, if you have some glue, like this Barely Art glue is just fantastic. And you can do it as like a precision, a little bit easier because it's got a nice fine point. So all I did was I just put a tiny little piece, little bit of glue on the end. And you can see it goes the same way. You just want to match it up. Just like that. Hold it together for a second. Everybody's okay? Everybody's following along, I hope, okay? I'm trying to watch questions at the same time. What colors did you use for the poinsettia? The poinsettias are the dies, Sandy. So they're the poinsettias that were in your kit. Okay, so what I did is I joined the one edge, just wait for a second, and then I put a little bit on the other end, and it formed a loop. So just like that. Forms a loop. And the nice thing is, if we do this now, then we can go ahead and do our other stuff, and this can just sort of sit for a minute and kind of dry. Just hold it together. There we go. Now you can just set that aside. Okay, and this one can just be set aside as well. And I'll show you what we're gonna do with this in a sec. But that way it can kind of dry for a sec and we can work on our little mice that we've got here as well. Okay, so we've got our dots down, we've got our bow, or we've got our poinsettias on, we've got our bow down. So now what we're gonna do is this cute little mouse, which I just loved. He's even got little die cuts, which you want to just pop out the little die cut around the mouse. There's one in front of his face, her face, to her, 'cause she's got a cute little dress on, and behind her, just like that. Okay, so we've got her ready to go. And what I did was I just put a little bit of glue. Again, I could use my this art glue, which is just fantastic. Just put a little bit of glue on the bottom of her. And I just tucked her in behind the big poinsettia. So wherever you want to have her, I kind of have her coming off my card, but you can position her again wherever you would like. So just like that. So we've got her kind of coming off. And stick her down. And what I did at the end was just kind of flipped her up a little bit so she kind of has a little bit more dimension. Just like that. You can kind of have her coming off. The nice thing about this glue is it's kind of forgiving. You can play around with it while it dries. So there we go. Now we've got our cute little mouse there too. Get rid of that. Okay, and then the balloon to the right. This cute little balloon with the two little mice in it. And I used double foam tape on this. So I just put a couple of pieces just in the center of my foam tape. I know sometimes mice aren't all that cute, but otherwise they are cute when they're pink and cute. If that makes sense. So a couple of pieces of foam tape. How are we doing for time? Pretty good. This one, I always try and do the one that's going to take the longest first, because that way we have time for our second one, and the third one is quite easy, and I always, like I say, post dimensions. Okay, so you've got your double foam tape for your cute little balloon, and then again, I just kind of placed it over top, so it kind of covers the back of the little mouse with the wand and over top of your poinsettias. So just like that. So cute. There we go. Okay, and then the next thing you can do is tuck your sprigs. So I had you make die cut again, which I just love these sprigs because not only can they be used for Christmas, they can be used for any time. And then this one was out of your die cut pack. So there were 3 different sprigs. And all I did with these guys is I just kind of, this one I tucked in behind your bow, but these, well, they're all kind of tucked in behind the bow. So you can kind of just figure out where you're gonna want your bow. I kind of put my sprigs sort of mid large poinsettia. So just like that. And again, just a tiny little bit of glue. Placed it on. Tiny little bit of glue. Place the second one on. I just love them. And die cutting them out of the gold foil, I just thought was fantastic. So I put those 2 guys like that. And then the one that is printed out of your die cut pack, I just stuck in behind there. And you could even use foam tape or something if you wanted to as well. So just like that. Not exactly in the same position as the sample, but they never are, so there we go. Okay, and then we're gonna go back to our bow. So what I did for the bow, everybody's okay? I'm not rushing ahead, I hope. Good. So this is now dry because that dries fairly quickly. all I did was squeeze it in the center. So now it's made your bow, just like that. And the third one, I just wrapped on top. And it forms the little tails. Just like that. I just thought it looked so cute. And the nice thing about using the white paper is you don't have to worry about there being two sides. If you were going to use a, you know, a pattern paper or stuff, you may have pattern on one side and white on the other. This way you don't have to worry about it. So I just tuck a little bit of glue in the center of it. So when I squeeze my bow together, and I've got my glue, just like that. I do need a clip. Who was that? Sandy, I think, said that. But you know what? If you were making a bunch of these or playing around with them, I would do these up ahead of time. Have all your little bows just hanging out, and then you'd be good to go. Okay, so then all you're gonna do is just attach your bow to the card. So again, just a bit of glue, put it over top of your die cuts, wherever you would like to have them. And then that's when I kind of played around to make my loopies a little bit higher. So just like that. So cute. Yeah, I just love the pink. It's really pretty. And then the gems that I used, I know Deanna showed these the other day, these Spellbinder Fashion Gold gems. You can use anything. You could use a button. You could use whatever you like. If you'd rather have them pink, you could do that as well. But these Fashion Gold gems, I just love them because they pop right up. And all I did was stick one in the center of the bow. I just figured that it finished it a little bit nicer. Just like that guy. There we are. And then I used two of the tiny ones and put them in the center of the poinsettias. And we can always go back and do that if we have time after. If not, you can do it afterwards. It's not a big deal because you may not want them. You may want to use glitter glue. You may want to use something else. That's all good. And then you do have your sheet of puffy stickers that again was in your kit. So many awesome sayings. They're so cute. I of course only have one of them to use. So I used Not a Creature Was Stirring and put it just down here at the bottom of the poinsettia. The other thing I thought of is would be cute to put your saying in here, or if, like I said earlier, if you had a longer sentiment, would be great. And then the other thing I thought about afterwards is I have, as most of you probably do too, snowflake die cuts that if you have those in your stash, and you could always add some cute little snowflakes here too, and you could put centers in them or whatever as well, but you could just have a selection of little snowflakes all going down the side of the card as well. But it's such a pretty, like I say, such a pretty line. I really did enjoy working with it. I don't often work with pink with having boys and things, so I don't work with the pink at Christmas too often, but it really is a pretty card. Done. I hope you liked that one. That was a lot of fun. So that one is going to dry, and again, just add your sentiment or whatever you want to add afterwards. Everybody good? Excellent. So we're going to go on to card number 2, and I have to say, well, didn't I say the first one was my favorite? Maybe the second one's my favorite. Again, the die cuts in this kit were fantastic, and this poinsettia, when you see my inspiration cards that I will give you, like I say, afterward or over the weekend or whenever I'm able to post them for you, I have used this poinsettia again and again. And the thing I like about it is it doesn't have to be red. You can do pink poinsettias, you can do white poinsettias, whatever you want. It's just such a nice card. And this one is just so simple, really. But it turned out so nice. I was so happy with it. So here is our card. I'll just put it here for right now. I think you can see it. Yeah. And I'm going to move this over a bit. here's your dimensions for card number 2. Again, if you want to take a picture of it, you can, but they will always be here on the video as well. So we're going to begin with our card base, and again, I asked you to score a little card base for this one. So this card base is 4 1/4 by 6 1/8. And the other thing I should have mentioned on the first one, if you ever want to, once you've scored them, it is always a good idea to take a burnishing tool. I know Diane does this a lot too, and it does make it nicer to be able to have them stand up afterwards, especially when you're building. You know, I tend to have so much stuff on a card and they don't stand up. But anyways, we'll go ahead and burnish that. Makes it a little bit better for you as well. So again, we're going to build our base. Okay, so what I did was I asked you to do your embossing ahead of time. And I know Deanna showed the embossing folder that I used. It was the Crafter's Companion one, but anything in your stash. And in fact, I was playing around with a Christmas embellishment the other day, and I used a floral background. It was not anything to do with Christmas, and it turned out fantastic. It doesn't have to be a Christmas embossing folder, or you could even use the tiny dots that we just talked about in the first card. It would be really pretty as your background as well. So, so you have your embossed piece, but what we're going to do is we're going to cut a piece of white cardstock. So you can take a piece of white cardstock first. So we're going to cut it 3 5/8 by 5 5/8. So 3 5/8 is just past 3 1/2. So 3 5/8, and by 5 5/8. So just past 5 1/2. And this is what I was saying to you in card number 1, is I tend to do a lot of white on white. I love to do that. So I always matte my white. And this is a thick cardstock that I embossed with. So you could always eliminate this layer, but I just always find that it gives a nice finishing touch to your embossing folder. So entirely up to you. You can eliminate it, or you can always do a tiny layer underneath your embossing folder as well. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our piece that you embossed ahead of time, and we're going to put it onto this white, and we are going to do that with foam tape. I like to give the dimension a little bit as well. And again, like I've said, if you want to eliminate foam and you want to make it thinner, go for it. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so we've got our embossing folder. Put some foam tape behind it. And we're just going to stick it onto this piece. And like I say, it's a very tiny border. It's about 1/8 of an inch around. But I don't know why. I just do this all the time on the cards that I make. I just find it really is a nice finishing. Okay, so we've got that. Okay, and then we are going to attach it to the hunter green piece. And I asked you to cut that out ahead of time, only because the sprigs that we did, Deanna does this all the time when she is working with her classes, is you could cut your base and you could cut your sprigs out of the center because you're never going to see it. It's a mat. So this way you're not using another piece of paper. It saves on paper and you're getting the exact same color. It's a great way of using paper without having to grab other sheets. I think it's ingenious. So of course I just wanted to be able to show it to you without the sprigs in it, but that's what I did. So you're going to put these 2 pieces that we've just done onto the green, and you can just do that flat. No foam tape, just flat onto your hunter green. If you didn't do it ahead of time, again, no problem. Just go ahead and cut yourself your piece of hunter green cardstock, and that was 3 7/8 by 5 7/8. And then you can cut your sprigs either out of the center or on a separate piece, whatever you prefer to do. I just, when we're working with these kits, I want to make sure that there's enough cardstock for Courtney and I to both be able to use. So that's an ingenious way of being able to cut out your die cuts. Okay, so we've got the 3 pieces now done together. We've got our embossed piece with the white and then the white onto the hunter green. And now we're going to put this base onto your card base. Okay, and I did that with foam tape. So again, you want it flat, go ahead. Otherwise, put it on with your foam tape. I do like having dimension in my cards, but I know not everybody does, especially people that like to mail them. Although these kind of cards, especially this one with the poinsettias, which I just love, they pop up, and when you stick them into an envelope, they will squish. So I always find these type of cards are great to be able to put onto a box of candy or a picture frame or something. If you're hand delivering it to someone, it makes it even that much more special. Okay, so there's our card base. Easy peasy. Perfect. Okay, so now we are going to decorate. So we're going to take our 4 pieces of poinsettias that are going to form 2. Just like this. There we go. Okay, and all you're going to do is you're just going to take a tiny little bit of glue and you're going to put it in the center of one of the poinsettias, and you're going to stick it in the center and offset it. So it's just like that. That way you can have that beautiful layer when you stick them together. What am I doing? Oh, perfect for time. It's just like that. There's one. And then the second one. And they're just so fine. Like I love it. It's just really neat. And something, when I show you one of the inspiration cards I did, what I did too was I threw I actually used the holly leaves, so you'll see that, but you could do the same thing with the poinsettia, is when you die cut these poinsettias out, you can then throw them into your embossing folder and run it through your Big Shot machine, and now you have a texture on your poinsettia. Would be beautiful. It could be the same as your background, or it could be different. You could use whatever you want, but again, you would get a texture to those poinsettias, and that would be beautiful as well. Okay, so now what we are going to do is we are going to, let me just find my little note card here. Here we go. Okay, so we are now going to take your 2 poinsettias and we are going to put a tiny little piece of foam tape in behind them. Just so that way when we're going to attach them to our card, they're going to be popped up a little bit, and that way we can attach or we can do our little stuffies or our sprigs and that in the background. So just put a little piece of foam tape in behind. And I just put mine diagonal. You can put them wherever you would like on your card, but I just kind of did one like that. And then I did my other one and I just kind of tucked it underneath. Just like that. But again, you can put them side by side, you could put them on top of each other, however you would like to have it. Because that way when you do this, you would get that one coming up and the one underneath. And it just really gives that beautiful dimension. Okay, so that is done. Now we're going to take our sprigs, our pretty green sprigs that we were able to cut out of that piece of our background. And I used 5 of them. You could use as many as you wanted to. And again, where you want to place them is entirely up to you. If you want to put them, along the bottom, on the sides. I just kind of tucked them in just where I thought it looked really pretty. So kind of one coming off like that. I have enough glue on there, but no. So tiny little bit of glue again in the bottom. to tuck these in. And entirely up to you how you want to have them too. Sometimes you can have one going this way, one going the other way. With it being a cardstock paper, it doesn't matter. You're never going to know if it's one side or the other. But that way you're able to put them exactly where you would like to place them. So I did 2 on the one side, just like that. And again, when you're not putting it into an envelope, you can have these kind of popped up. And then I took another one and just put it along the top of this guy. So pretty. And then your 2 sprigs down here at the bottom. And I had one going one way and one going the other. This Barely Art glue is just perfect for being able to work with the little stuffies. Just like that. And one coming off here. Just kind of down like that. Perfect. Good. Everybody okay? Excellent. Yeah, I just think it looks so pretty with those sprigs. Okay, and then the other thing that again I'm going to be using over and over again, and it does not need to be used for Christmas, is this cute little white flower die that again was in your set. Just fantastic. And what I did with this is I just put a tiny bit of glue on it, and I just kind of stuck it on top of my sprigs. I thought it kind of just added another little thing in there as well. You could put a piece of foam tape on it if you wanted it to pop up a bit more. I just kind of wanted to just sort of hide it kind of idea. And then the one at the bottom, I actually stuck directly onto the sprig. So I just put it right, because this little red leaf here can pop up. And then I kind of just tucked it underneath the, I've got one of these poker tool things that makes it a bit easier too. You can just kind of give it a little pop. And these little, even the little petals on this flower you can pop up afterwards too. So cute. Okay, and then the last little stuffer guy was the 2 candy canes that again were die cuts in your package. And I just put them up at the top and kind of offset them like that. So just a tiny bit of glue. There we go. And this little guy. And I tucked him underneath the flower. There we go. Can be up. It can be offset. So pretty. And again, pop them up. Once they're glued down, you're able to just maneuver all of this stuff and have it just kind of come off your card. So much fun. Okay, and then the last thing I did, and of course I don't have an extra chipboard piece, so I'll just use one of the other ones out of your set. Again, so many cute things, all these chipboard pieces as well. And all I did, I'm just going to show you for placement, is all I did with the little chipboard, this little gift here is the chipboard piece that was in your set. I just tucked it underneath the petals, just like that. And this guy was a little bit, actually I went on top, I think, of him. And just kind of tucked it in. So, and the red one is so cute that goes with the set. So you can just stick it right inside there. And then the last thing I did was just use, again, my gems. Put 2 in the centers of the poinsettias and 1 in the center of the 2 little flowers, just to add that. And then the last thing I did, and you can do this on your own because you may want to use a different sentiment, but we also had the great little stamp set. I'm sure I have mine right here. But these were 2 different stamps on your stamp set. And what I did was I used my stamping platform and I put them right on top of each other, inked it, and was able to stamp the entire image at one time. So you can use those 2 words that they had on the in your stamp set, or you can use a different sentiment or a rub-on or whatever. If you've got something, you could use another one of these because your little foamy guys, you have so many of these. So you could use all kinds of these. The one that says Merry Christmas could go down there too. Whatever you would like to do just to add to the bottom of your card. I just thought that finished it off with a really nice sentiment too. But what a fun card, and I just love, like I say, this die you're going to be able to use over and over again. There's so many beautiful poinsettia dies out there right now. You could mix this one in with it, and it would just be great. And try that embossing idea as well, because you'll get that dimension on your poinsettia leaves, and that's a lot of fun. So that's your second card. We are done with number 2. All right, everybody okay? Everybody's following along okay with me, I hope? Like I say, if you're never sure afterwards, please reach out and I'm happy to answer any questions as well. Okay, so we are on to card number 3. And we can always go back and add those little gems and stuff afterwards if we wanted to. But this way we at least are right pretty well bang on time, which is just fantastic. I'm getting better, ladies, let me tell you. Ladies and gentlemen, I should say. Okay, so here is our 3rd card, and I just thought this one was so simple but so cute. And again, it's these little die cuts that they had in this set are just absolutely fantastic. So here is our dimensions for card number 3. And I asked you to have your card base, and this card base was super easy because it's the one that came in your kit. So you didn't have to cut anything. Your kit, this is already done. It's 4 1/4 inches scored, and it is 5 1/2 inches long. So that one you don't have to cut or anything. We've already got our card ready to go. So the other thing I think I said on your instructions was I used dark brown in this. They didn't provide in the kit a dark brown sheet, but they do have the black. So if you want to just use your black that came in your kit, go for it. It really is a very tiny little border. It's not going to make that much of a difference, but I just thought that the chocolate brown lended itself to the kit. But you can use your black that you have so that you're ready to go. So we're going to cut either your black or dark brown piece 4 1/8. There we go. And 5 3/8. So again, I'm using the tiny little 1/8 borders, but that's, like I say, what I really do enjoy doing. So that is going to be, that's going to form that when we're ready to stick it on. So you're just seeing a very tiny little white border around your card. So that's the dark brown. Then we needed a piece of white cardstock to put on top of it. And what I used is I again used the pieces out of my kit. You've got so many cards. You don't need to use this if you want to keep them for your cards, but I thought, well, this way I can use a piece of cardstock, a couple of pieces out of it, and you're not using your own cardstock. You've got it there, so why not use it? So your cardstock layer that I used, I cut my card that I have, my folded card. I'm cutting it to 4 inches. Inches, not 4 1/2. There we go. And 5 1/4. I find that you just get so many cards with these, with the Spellbinders kits that we've been using for Crafty Hour. So it's a great way of being able to use for your cardstock as well. But they also make obviously your card bases too. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we are going to attach this piece of white to your brown. And what I did with this one is, did I put this one on? this one on foam or flat. No, I just did it flat. So you can just put this piece of white onto your brown piece of cardstock with either your tape runner or your glue, whatever you want to use. There we go. So again, you've got a very tiny little 1/8 border around the outside of the white onto the brown. Okay, and then we're going to use our Noel and wreath paper, which was again in your kit. So cute, the little wreaths on it. And we are going to cut this one 3 7/8, so just before the 4-inch, and you'll have a little piece of scrap. Keep it, you won't need it on this, but you can always use it again. So there's your 3 7/8 and 5 1/8. There we go. And again, we're just going to attach that with your glue or your tape runner. So you've got your Noel paper, a tiny little white border, and then your tiny black or brown border, whichever one you wanted to use. And you can just stick that on, right side up, get your words the right way. Perfect. Let me just grab my notes here. Everybody's doing okay, I hope. Okay. And then we are going to build our topper. So I'm going to just stick this over here. I can always put it back if you needed it. So again, you're going to cut another piece of your brown or black, whichever one you're using. And this time we're going to cut it to 3 1/4 by 4. And sorry, by 4 3/4. So just 1/4 of an inch before 5. That side little guy, that's one gonna go on there. Okay, then we're going to cut the other side of that piece of cardstock. If you used your card bases or if you're just using your white cardstock, doesn't matter, whichever one you wanted to use. And we're going to cut it 3 1/8 to 4 5/8. So that is just one little notch past your 4 1/2. So again, that is going to form a very tiny brown border or black border for your topper. So just like that. And go ahead and glue those together. There we are. And last piece is this pretty paper. It has like the pine cones and sprigs out of your paper pad as well. And we are going to cut a piece of that 3 inches by 4 1/2. And go ahead and glue that one on to those two pieces. Again, just a tiny little mat around it. there we are. Okay, so now what we'll do is let's put this one onto our card base, the first one that we made, and you can either use foam or you can do it flat, whichever you'd prefer. I'm going to use a little bit of foam. And I think I actually wrote my directions a little bit different than what I did on this today, but it doesn't really matter. The one that we did, the little, this one here, I did all three things flat. I think on here I'm saying to do the foam tape to the brown or the black, but it really doesn't make any difference because what I'm going to do is we've done foam onto this card base. And then, so that one is done. Let's do foam onto this card base or flat, whichever you'd prefer. But I think that one would work out fine that way too. So funny when you make your notes and then you look at it and go, is that what I did? As all of us do. You guys are just the best. Beautiful messages and stuff. I so appreciate it. I'm always very critical of myself, so I appreciate when I get you guys on board. It's just fantastic. Okay, so then we're just going to put that onto there. That's forming your topper, and you still have this really pretty kind of Noel-y idea around the outside as your frame. Then we're going to get our pieces that I have here. Where's my number 3 card? One second. He is gone straight. Here we go. Perfect. So here is what I had asked you to do for pulling. So it's this really cute little stocking with the little mouse in it. So we're going to attach the little mouse to the center of the base right here, just with some foam tape. So kind of pop him up a little bit. And again, that makes it easier for you to be able to put your little sprigs in behind him afterwards. And I just love the sprigs cut out of the gold foil. It really is pretty. And I can imagine it in silver. And my goodness, all of the foil that we have been able to get here at Clipper Street especially, and I'm sure at Scrapbook and Memories as well, all that Miri cardstock, just be gorgeous in the sprigs too. So you're just gonna set him right in the center like that. You're gonna take your 2 cute little gold sprigs and put a little bit of foam tape, or sorry, a little bit of glue on him, on the base of it. And we're just going to tuck them in behind. Like that. And wherever you'd like to place them. Just like that. I think it looks so cute. Okay, and then going back to our awesome selection of chipboard. So I have used this one here, and I'm not sure, I can't remember. I know I saw Courtney's homework. I can't remember what she's using. So anyways, you have a nice big selection of the different ornaments, and then the little gift. Again, the gift I have already used on mine, so I'm just going to use this one just for placement purposes so you can see. And you don't have to worry about anything. It's already got your foam tape on it. So you're just gonna kind of place it where you would like to have it. I kind of just did it at the topper of the stocking like that. And then whatever selection of the ornaments you wanted to use. Again, I'm not sure which one Courtney's using, but it's just great to have a huge selection of them. What I did though is I used 2 pieces of foam tape. So it's already got one on it. You just want to put another little piece onto it, because that way he's coming, the little bauble is going up on top of the gift. So just like that. You don't want to cover the little mousy face. So I just did that. And then the last thing was to add a little gem into the center, or your glitter glue, whatever you'd like to use. And again, you have a huge selection of these sweet little puppy stickers. I used Holiday Hugs, but you could use whatever you wanted to. You could add another little gem or a little die cut star or something like that up into the stocking itself too. What a cute little card, and just a great little gift enclosure card, especially for anybody would love it. And the one thing I would mention as well is I did not even go into these. You have this whole pack of these guys, so you could add some of these to your cards to embellish them. Like I say, the value in these kits is just absolutely incredible. I hope everybody has enjoyed this. Look at that. We're just past 11 o'clock, so I guess I did okay. Yes, please, like Nola was saying here too, ideas that I give you and the dimensions and things like that, use them on other cards. They don't have to just be Christmas cards. Use some of your things that you have, your die cuts and your embossing folders. I'm a huge embossing folder person, as you probably have been made aware of already. So go ahead and use your embossing folders and any die cuts that you have. I'm so thrilled that you're enjoying it. Please remember, Courtney goes live at 5 p.m. Pacific. I believe Diana has also posted that. Make sure you sign up for Crafty Hour Creations. It's a great community. You can ask me questions. You can ask any of us questions, losing my mind, and we're happy to answer anything you have. And please don't forget, tomorrow at 9 a.m. is the reveal of the next Crafty Hour. Believe it or not, it will be number 23. That will be one that I will be doing as well. So I hope you will join me in August for that one. But at 9 a.m. tomorrow, Deanna will be going live with that too. So please take a look at that as well. So I hope you've enjoyed this. Please think about Christmas on this beautiful sunny day, and I hope you can get a great head start on your Christmas cards and anything. And like I say, any other questions, please just let me know. Thanks so much. Have a great day.